Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I shall like to welcome you all to the press conference following the 26th EU-Russia summit. Due to time constraints deriving from the official program, there will be time for just a few questions after the statements. Thank you for your kind understanding. With no further delay, allow me to invite the President of the European Council, Herman Van Rompuy, to present the main conclusions following the discussions.
Thank you. It has been a pleasure to welcome President Medvedev to Brussels after our summit in Rostov-on-Don at the end of May of this year. First of all, I congratulate him. I would say I have to congratulate him on Russia's victory in the bid to host the World Cup in 2018. It is an important prospect for the Russian people and for the world. There were other interesting candidacies, but I sincerely congratulate Russia for that victory. Today we had a good summit, open and fruitful discussions. We will continue our discussions at dinner, building on the friendly and constructive atmosphere that came out of the summit, as I said, in Rostov in the first semester of this year. One of the most valuable features of our strategic partnership is that we can discuss a wide range of issues, both those on which we have converging and those on which we have diverging views. Let me highlight a few elements. First, we had a chance to exchange views on the global economy and on the economic situation in the European Union and in Russia, respectively. The economic recovery remains fragile and uneven between member states. I, for my part, made it clear that the recovery in the European Union is visibly underway, and we are encouraged by the prospects ahead. Second, the European Union and Russia have taken some important positive steps regarding our bilateral relationship. I am particularly rejoiced by the fact that the European Union and Russia have concluded their bilateral negotiations on the WTO, and the World Trade Organization, and we agree that we should now focus on the multilateral negotiations so that Russia can become a member of the WTO as soon as possible. This is a paramount step forward, and a step the world is closely watching. We now wish for a push on other parts of our bilateral agenda, mainly the negotiations on the new agreement. I'm also happy for the good progress made on the partnership of modernization, and that we now have a common view on how to move forward towards an eventual visa-free travel regime. These forthcoming decisions from your side, Mr. President, are clear proof of your overall commitment to taking the path to modernization. We now have a chance to prove that good and close EU-Russia cooperation is not only important at the strategic level, but has tangible consequences for the well-being of our societies, not just interesting for our diplomats, how important they may be, but for our citizens. We need, however, to keep this momentum so that we follow up on this progress and make it real, and I'm fully confident that Russia will deliver. Third, we follow closely and appreciate very highly President Medvedev's personal commitment to the cause of modernization of Russia. I deliver the message on behalf of the heads of state or government of the EU's 27 member states when I encourage you on working on Russia's modernization based on democratic values, by building a modern economy, and by encouraging the active involvement of civil society. The European Union wishes to be Russia's partner in this historic endeavor. In this regard, we take note of your efforts to push for political, judicial, and economic reforms in Russia. Thus, I recall to President Medvedev the questions and concerns of our member states and in general the European public have about the situation for human rights defenders and journalists in Russia, and particularly in the Northern Caucasus. I welcomed his personal involvement to ensure that perpetrators are brought to justice, strongly encouraging him to translate statements into action. The EU-Russia human rights dialogue remains an important element in our bilateral relationship. Fifth, we discussed a number of sensitive issues in our common neighborhood. Also, in the light of the outcome of the OSCE summit in Astana, where both President Medvedev, President Barroso and I took part. We still faced unresolved, protracted conflicts, which are a threat to the stability and security to both the European Union and Russia. The European Union is actively engaged in efforts to ensure long-lasting and peaceful solutions to these conflicts. Three examples stand out. The Union has made specific proposals for an early resumption of the formal negotiations on the Transnistrian settlement process. We also have emphasized the principles of peaceful settlement proposed by the Minsk Group as the best option to reach an agreement on Nagorno-Karabakh. We welcome the personal efforts of the Russian President to ease tensions and find solutions. We have called for restoring a meaningful OSCE presence in Georgia and for renewed efforts to deal with both the security situation and humanitarian and human rights issues, consistent with the 2008 ceasefire agreement and with full respect for the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Georgia. Close cooperation with Russia on the above is the key to success, and progress in this field will create momentum for the EU-Russia cooperation in general. Ladies and gentlemen, the European Union and Russia are real strategic partners who try to find solutions for common problems. The direction of our relations is towards more convergence. The political will is really present to go ahead with modernization in all fields of society. The Union itself is also involved in a broad movement of reforms, indispensable in a highly competitive world. I thank you.